Ladies and gentlemen, Tottenham are not Super Cup champions. An utterly gut-wrenching loss to PSG in Udine. One that we were 2-0 up in the 85th minute. And somehow, as only Tottenham could, threw the game away. PSG brought it back to 2-2 and then they won the resulting penalty shootout. I'm still sort of simmering in the emotion of the night and the result. I am recording this just after the game because I prefer to get my opinions and raw emotions out there immediately after a game. It's something I'm going to try and bring to you guys across the entire season. But I'm also sitting here reflecting, and I think in the morning I'm going to feel a lot more positive and a lot more upbeat about how Tottenham played against this PSG side. And there are a lot of mitigating factors on the night. PSG have not played a single pre-season game. Tottenham looked incredibly leggy after 70 minutes of the match. There are a few questionable decisions when it came to substitutions from Thomas Frank. But there were far more positives to outweigh the negatives in this game. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about, right? You guys don't want to sit here and listen to me rant for 10 minutes about how annoyed I am that Spurs lost and all the things that we did wrong and the players that played really poorly. We're on the eve of a new season, a new Premier League campaign. We won the trophy that matters, by the way. We won that Europa League. Take solace in that. PSG, they're the champions of Europe for a reason. They had the quality off of the bench. It's one of the main things that turned the game on its head for them. They were able to bring on Fabian Ruiz. They were able to bring on Goncalo Ramos, two game changers. And I think in the final 15 minutes, it showed why they are where they are currently under Luis Enrique. And we went toe-to-toe for them. Heck, we were better than them for 70 minutes of that game. We could have scored 3. We could have scored 4 goals. The game could have been put to bed. And that is what I want to start on. Tottenham very clearly lack depth. And that is going to be the thing to hurt us this season. We are missing a couple of players. We are those couple of players away. We were those couple of players off the bench tonight from being a very, very good side. The team that we put out, a lot of people questioned it. A lot of people for the first time seeing that 3 or 5 at the back with Danso, Van der Ven and Romero, Jed Spence, Pedro Porro as wing-backs, Papsar, Paulinho and Bentancur, and then a 2 up front of Kudus and Richarlison. But it worked exceptionally well. And it wasn't until we actually brought off those workhorses, Paulinho, Richarlison, Kudus, did the game start to fall away from us and PSG came back into it and really took a grip. But I just can't help but think if we had an Eberici Eze available in the squad, if we had a SAVINHO, those extra bits of quality, that it would have got us over the line tonight. So I urge Tottenham and Daniel Levy to go out there and bite the bullet and spend the money and get these players in. And I truly think after watching this PSG game that we can be an incredibly good side this season. Take a look at what the rival fans are saying on social media. They are saying how impressed they are with how Tottenham have played tonight, that they can be very, very good under Thomas Frank, that they can have an exceptional season. And I think that's the mindset that we need to go into this campaign with. We need to believe that we are capable of clawing our way back up that Premier League table. We need to show that we are the Europa League champions for a reason, that we deserve that spot in the Champions League because everybody is waiting to pull us down a peg. And I saw enough from that game in Italy against PSG tonight to suggest that we are going to be just fine under Thomas Frank. And I want to start with something: mentality. The work rate of those players tonight was utterly sensational. Mohamed Kudus, I'm telling you right now, is going to be signing of the summer in the Premier League this season. He has revolutionised that Tottenham attack. The way he holds the ball up, the way he carries it forward, the opportunities he opens up in the final third of the pitch. Yes, he needs to work on his final third finishing and where he puts the ball with his final pass. That will come. I just think the dynamics of how he plays really, really elevated us against a very good team tonight, the champions of Europe. I also just think I want to give credit to the players that really made the difference. One of them was Richarlison, someone that I've kind of said all summer Spurs should be looking to sell, and I don't necessarily want to take that back, but he made a big difference tonight. He put his heart and his soul on the line, and I've never, ever questioned his loyalty to the club, his desire to win, And he showed that in abundance against PSG. So that is a huge positive to take away from the game. If the players are willing to play like that week in, week out, and not let those levels drop, we're going to beat a significant amount of teams in both Europe and in England this season. João Paulinho, after a worrying debut against Bayern Munich, his former club, or the club that he technically still belongs to, put in so much more in this game against PSG. And you could tell he wanted to win so badly, even when he was taken off. Clearly not entirely match fit yet. You'd see him in the edge or even outside the technical area, egging the team on, coaching, trying to help them. I love that about our players. And I want our players to have that mentality. I want them to win every ball, every duel, every single point that is on offer. I want them to fight like they did against PSG tonight, because it makes a difference, let me tell you. Now, I may not play football at a high level, but I know if you outwork your opponent, a lot of the time you're going to get the better of them. And I think that was partly what happened against PSG tonight. I think for the first 70 minutes, Thomas Frank got it spot on, right? As I said, we were all confused potentially with the formation and how we set up. It was perfect. What are PSG's most dangerous weapons? It's their wingers, right? Their wingers and their fullbacks. Nuno Mendes on one side, Hakimi on the other side, Ousmane Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Desiree Doué, Barcola, all of them. They love the one-on-one situations. They love to be able to run into the space, take their man on, and we cut that out from the very off. And I think we're going to have to do that against a lot of teams this season, with how much talent the Premier League sides have in attack these days. The speed, the agility of some of these players these days is frightening. And it was the perfect test to do that against PSG tonight. I mean, like I say, before they scored their first goal, really, they hardly had a sniff. I mean, Desiree Doué went off because he was having absolutely no impact. Kvaratskhelia went off in a hump, and I absolutely love that bloke. I think he's fantastic. But the way we sat back in a defensive shape was particularly noticeable. Obviously, it was a 5, pretty flat at times, with Jed Spence in on one pocket, Pedro Porro cutting off those channels and that wing space, and then the 3 of Danso, Romero, Van de Ven were exceptional for pretty much all of the game. You know, it's a difficult one to blame them for any of the goals, but obviously they're putting their heart and souls off the line. Danso took one right in the private parts. Christian Romero down with cramp at the end of the game after giving absolutely everything. Mickey Van de Ven, another goal line clearance. And it just, to me, is such a big change in how we played under Ange Postecoglou. And defensively, we look so much more solid, particularly when we had Paulinho, who did his usual job in the middle of the park, breaking up the play. He was putting in fantastic tackles. And that was supplemented with the composure of both Rodrigo Bentancur and Pat Matasar. I thought Pat Matasar should have been given man of the match. I know PSG ended up winning. They gave it to Ousmane Dembele. I don't know how. Pat Matasar, in my opinion, was the best player on the pitch. And you know what? Pat Matasar, well done, because that was some performance. He was everywhere. He covered so much ground. I've not seen him look this good in a Tottenham shirt. And he might be the biggest positive to take away from that game, is that he is going to be a player for Tottenham that is going to make a huge difference, alongside the likes of Kudus, potentially alongside the likes of Paulinho, if he is managed to put in these kinds of performances. I just thought the balance was excellent. Bentancur's composure in tight areas. When we were getting pressed by PSG, he didn't panic when he was on the ball. He would turn out of trouble. He would pick the right pass. And then Sarr. The pressing from Sarr was what impressed me the most. The way he was able to get in front of the PSG players and nick the ball off them so many times. And do you know what we saw against PSG that rarely ever happens? And maybe you could say it's down to pre-season rust. We saw them misplacing passes, passing it off the pitch, passing it straight back to us. Do you know how good the press has to be to make the best team in Europe do that? And that, for me, is a big check in a box that Thomas Frank will absolutely love. He was so animated. He really, really wanted to win, and I was gutted that we weren't able to deliver it to him. But, I mean, yeah, the subs towards the end of the game didn't really help us. I think Tell's work rate when he came on was not the best. Please don't pile abuse on him. He's a 20-year-old kid. He will learn. don't abuse him for missing the penalty either. It's a lottery with the penalties. You know, you saw what happened with Vitinhas. He's one of the best penalty takers in the entire world. And I think the two up front actually worked really well. When was the last time you saw two strikers up top with each other for Tottenham? Keenan, Defoe, Berbatov and Crouch, whoever it may be, and it was really, really nice. And I do still think we need to bring in another striker, a number 10 and a winger to fill those gaps where we lacked maybe a little bit of quality and work rate in the final stages of the game. But yeah, I mean, I could list on my fingers the positives that we can take. The mentality was excellent. The work rate was fantastic. The defensive shape was brilliant for the most part. The players looked like they wanted to fight for the club. They look like they're understanding Thomas Frank's tactics already, which is always a really positive sign. We scored really great goals. I mean, the set pieces, I haven't even mentioned the set pieces yet. Those long throws from Danso, what a weapon. We were winning so many duels, which I think we didn't really do again under Ange Postecoglou. We really struggled to win the first and the second balls. And now from corners, from throw-ins, from free kicks, from even goal kicks, we look like the favourites to get there. And the game followed a very similar pattern to the Arsenal pre-season game where, like I say, if you chop the last 15 minutes off of the game, which I know is hard to do because that's ultimately what decided it, PSG didn't even look like they were going to score. And you know, once they got the first one, they found their confidence, they found their fitness seemingly, and we were beaten by the better side. We finished 17th in the Premier League last season. We struggled, and you could argue that on paper we have a worse squad now still than we did last season after losing Son with no Maddison, no Kulusevski. So there's a lot of work to be done in the transfer window still. I'm feeling a lot more optimistic going into a new Premier League season now than I did at the start of the week. I wasn't sure what to expect tonight. I know those of you that watched my last video would have seen that I predicted a 1-0 scrappy win. And I was blown away with how we played, to be honest. It was so amazing. And that's what hurts so much, is that we played so well. We were 2-0 up, 10 minutes to go, and we had it snatched away from us. But like I said, I think I will feel a lot better about it in the morning. I mean, let me know what you thought of the game. What was your biggest positive to take away from it? What are your sort of predictions for the new season now you've seen a full pre-season under Thomas Frank? And if we get those players over the line, I really do think the sky is the limit. And I want to be positive going into the new season. I always try to be, despite what some people may say to me on social media. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday. Come and say hello if you see me inside the stadium, if you're at the game. I will have a preview out probably on Friday at some point. A lot to do, I know, I apologise. But if you've enjoyed this sort of breakdown and analysis of the PSG game, please feel free to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world to me and I really appreciate it. Try not to take it too hard. I'm trying to remain upbeat as much as that did hurt. The season starts on Saturday and that's where the real work begins. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you so much for watching. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. I'll catch you for another video very soon. As always, come on you Spurs.